Hello, and welcome to another project with our Scratch application. So we're going to be continuing to learn how to program, which is going to lead to a lot of different opportunities for you. You can create anything you want, anything you can imagine on this program. And I believe that learning to code is just as important as math or English language arts. So for this lesson, we're going to be working on a math project in here, and we're going to be matching mathematical expressions that are equivalent. So it's a math matching game. It should look like this. Once we start, we'll have a start matching game button that we can click on to begin the game. And then you're going to have points up here. If this pops up, we can just hide it. So to match the expressions. So I know that 5 times 10 to the third power is 5,000. So you see I get a point once I match those. And then once we get up to 6 points, then this little button here is going to pop up saying that you win. So you're going to be coming up with your own equations that you're going to match on this program. We're going to start off with this nifty start game button. So you'll see I have added a sprite. Remember, we click here for the new sprite. I've already set up an icon here saying that when the flag is clicked, the button is going to reveal itself. I wanted it a little bit bigger so that I could see the words on it, so it's set to 150%. And it's going to start up here over in this corner at -168 on the x-axis and 113 on the y-axis. And then I want it to glide towards the middle. And I also wanted it to spin. So we're going to practice using this repeat button here. I'm going to go to Control. I'm going to say repeat. And then I'm going to make it spin. So I'm going to go over to motion. I'm going to say turn 15 degrees. Okay, let's see how that looks. Do you know what? I think I want it to spin a little bit more. So I'm going to change that repeat 10 to repeat 20. I'm going to double the amount it spins. And I also noticed that it's not landing quite where I want it to land. So I'm going to make sure that at the very end, outside of the repeat, I'm going to say point in direction 90. So let's take a look at what that is. There we go. Okay, that's better. I also have over here, I have an event selected. That is when this sprite is clicked, it's going to hide. And then it's going to set points to 0. And we'll look at that variable points in a second and see how that's going to affect the game. But we see up here we have points, it's at 1. So if I click this, it starts at 0 and the game begins. Okay, so let's take a look at one of our sprites. So I clicked on sprite 5 here. I believe that is this one. Yes, 5 times 10 to the third power. So I've already set it up so when the flag is clicked, it's going to be in costume 1. See, here's costume 1, and here's costume 2. I'm going to make sure the sizing is right and the location is right. And then when I click it, it's going to switch over to that costume 2. It's going to change a variable that I set up here called 500 group by 1, or sorry, 5,000 group by 1. So when I click on it, that variable is going to increase by 1. And if I can click on this one in time, then I'm going to increase 5,000 group by another 1. Which, if that happens, so only if I click on both of these, will I be able to get a point. So far I haven't gotten my point. It waits 5 seconds and then switches back to costume 1, and I lose any momentum that I gain. So it all has to happen within 5 seconds. So let's see here. Click there, so 5,000 group goes to 1, and there, within 5 seconds, I clicked on both of these, and these are the only two that have the 5,000 group variable set up, and my point goes up. So the other ones are going to be set up very similar. All right, so here I'm on sprite 6, that is this one. So it is 25 hundredths. And I have it set up with the basics that I just went over. So when this flag is clicked, it's going to switch to costume 1. It's going to make sure it's in the right size and place. And then when I click on it, see, was it this one? Yes. When I click on it, it's going to switch to costume 2, wait 5 seconds, and switch back. So now we're going to look at how to set up a variable so that we can get some points out of this. So first of all, I need an if-then statement here. Let's see, and I want it just above the wait 5 seconds. I want this actually at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to create a variable by going into data. I'm going to make a new variable. So for each pair, you're going to have to make a new variable. I'm going to say variable name is 0.25, 0.5, so I can see it better. Okay, I'm going to say for all sprites. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go to operators. I'm going to select this one, the greater than symbol. I'm going to say if my variable of 0.25 is greater than 1, then we're going to change 0.25. Oh, sorry, not 0.25. We're going to change points. That's how we win the game. So we change points by 1. So in order for 0.25 to be greater than 1, you have to click on both of them. So now we have to go back and set up that other one. But first, I think I'm missing one thing here, not points. There we go, 0.25. When the sprite is clicked, we're going to change 0.25 by 1. So it's this one, I click on it, and 0.25 we see here, I can change by 1. I can hide this, I can right click on this and hide this, but I kind of want to keep it up right now just so that I can make sure that everything is happening the way I want it to. And then when I'm sure of it, then I will hide it. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my next one, which is this one. I just happen to know that those are matching because I designed this. So that is 1/4. And I'm going to set it up pretty similar. In fact, where is it? Here it is. In fact, I can duplicate this and just drag it down. My 0.25, my 1/4. Here it is, it shows up. Just going to add it in here. Okay. There's one more thing I need in both of these, and that is that I need to set my 0.25 variable to 0 after 5 seconds. So that way it's going to go away. So if I can't just click all around and happen to click on it twice within 10 minutes and get a point. So it has to be within 5 seconds. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Set 0.25 to 0. Okay, so it has to happen. I put on my time parameter. All right, so let's test it out. I'm going to click here and click here. And I got another point for matching them. Okay, so we're going to set up these very similarly. We're going to look at what happens now to let the player know that they won. So I have a little sprite here. It's a little heart that says you win. and I'm going to have that pop up only if the points are equal to 6. So then it'll pop up. I'll change the size by 10 because again, I want it a little bit bigger. And that way the player will know that they have won the game. However, I don't want it to stay up forever. So I also said when this flag is clicked, it's going to go to its right place. It's going to set itself to its right size, but it's going to hide. And it'll only show up if the point value is equal to 6. Okay, and here is how we're getting graded on this. So 10 points, almost half of the grade is just based on the code functioning as intended. So it needs to be free of errors. We need to make sure that we do have those variables set up for each pairing, as well as an extra points variable that is shown. The 12 points here is for the math problems. So they need to be correctly matched with their answers or equivalent expressions. And each problem needs to be different. We don't want to repeat anything.